Okay, we're just going to wait a few minutes to let everyone hop on, and we'll be starting in about 2 minutes. All right, we're going to give people 1 more minute to hop on, and we'll be starting in 1 minute. Okay, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name's Jay Rubik. I work with Logic Integration, and we're here with our partner T1V, your solutions partner for collaboration technologies. I just want to thank you guys for joining me. I was reaching out to a lot of folks this week, telling them I had this webinar to join, and people were saying, "Oh, we're getting just bombarded with webinars left and right." So, you know, I appreciate you guys joining us today. We're really thankful to have you here, and I know we got a lot to cover during this 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and so we want to leave some room at the end for questions. So, if you have questions, just wait to the end. We'll have a Q&A session, and we'll answer all your questions. And just to give you a little background, Logic Integration has been around since 2003. We started by a gentleman by the name of Sean Hansen, who had been working for another AV firm, pulling wire, setting up, audiovisual in homes. And he discovered that there was really something missing from most AV contractors and solution providers out there, and that was just a level of solving problems, right? We're not just going to come in. He was just going in and setting up TVs, setting up sound systems, setting up cameras. And what we really try to do is we work with our clients to solve unique business problems. And what I really love about audiovisual, I think I can speak for everyone who works at Logic Integration, is that we have a passion for helping customers solve business problems. And I love it even more when I can work with a customer to find a business problem that they may or may not have even known about until we came along and started talking about putting new AV in their office. So it's just a night and day compared to a lot of providers. And I know a lot of folks are just out there trying to win a low bid or to put some equipment in, and there's really no thought behind what is this equipment going to do and how is there going to be an ROI on this equipment that we're putting in and this technology we're putting in. So today we're going to be talking a lot about how we figure out how we help customers figure out that ROI or how they discover that ROI, right? We're also going to be talking about how this technology can help companies who have workers spread across regions, across the world even, collaborate as if they're in the same room together. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Scott Collinsworth. Scott is going to talk about some business cases here, and then we'll have T1V do a presentation and talk a little bit more about the technology. So thanks again for joining us, and go ahead, Scott.
Thank you, Jay, and I want to thank T1V for partnering with us. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. Here at Logic, we believe it's our job to make sure that you, our customers, are aware of the effective tools that are out there that can increase your overall productivity and efficiency of your entire team. Over the past 8 months, collaboration, especially virtual collaboration, has become more commonplace in the workplace. By definition, it's said that collaboration is when two individuals or a group of people work together to achieve a common goal by sharing their ideas. However, today's business and educational landscape has changed. We now have to account for virtual teams or people working remotely. With advancements in technology, we can now use cloud-based programs to share files with our team members. Collaboration as a group has become more commonplace. Virtual collaboration allows for easier brainstorming activities. It also allows for equal group participation. As a result, you won't have one person talking for an hour and then being accused of death by PowerPoint. Today, Logic has partnered with T1V to illustrate the importance of virtual collaboration. Recently, T1V completed a study called Work from Anywhere. This study explored where and how people of all ages and positions spend their time in the work week. Most common would be in the office, working from home, on the road, and in some cases, all the above. This study highlighted the differences in today's work environments. They took a deep dive into office schedules. Work from anywhere challenges the ideas of how individuals connect with their internal and external partners, no matter where they are. I would like to share with you some interesting statistics that came from that study. 41% of the respondents reported that their office is now open. 15% of the respondents are planning to go back some point in Q4. 30% of the respondents reported that their office reopening is still to be determined. That's about 45% of all participants that are just now heading back to the office, or they don't have any time frame for a return. Hopefully, today's presentation will show you how to increase productivity and efficiency through collaboration. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Ian with T1V.
Thanks, Scott. So my name is Ian Wright, Director of Sales for T1V for the Midwest and West regions. Appreciate the time. Today we're going to go through some collaboration tools that we offer. We're going to show you some demos of that, as well as some case studies of customers that are using it today and how they're using it and how those came to be. At the end of this, we'll have a Q&A, but in your Zoom window, you have the ability to send questions and all that information through now. So please do so as we're going through this. So at the end, we can address those questions. Just on the call, you saw who Jay and Scott are. We're also going to have Molly Garrett, who is our applications engineer, who is going to run the ThinkHub demos from the showroom here in just a few. So for T1V, we are a software company. We're based in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we make software that we like to say amplifies the capabilities of traditional touchscreens. We do this through an intuitive user interface to create a good user experience. That's really important for us. We like to say that we are platform agnostic. So we don't have specific displays we work with, for example, or specific types of computers. We like to work with everything and keep it simple and easy to use so that anybody can walk in and utilize the tools. And then also, single point of contact for support. We have 3 core offerings that we're going to show you today. First is just our ThinkHub platform, which is our interactive collaboration tool. And then building upon that, we will go to our active learning solution that can be used in active learning classrooms, training environments for corporate, a lot of different use cases there. But the the intention there is to keep people engaged from a student perspective, keep everybody working and actively participating versus just sitting and watching a professor speak. And then third, we'll go through our branded interactive solution, which is our T1V Suite. This is interactive lobby experiences, story walls, timeline walls, and some other solutions that can go in lobbies and places like that. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Molly and we can kick off the demo. And again, please send your questions through so we can address them at the end of the demos. Thank you.
Cool, thanks, Ian. What I'm going to do, I'm going to switch you guys over to my ThinkHub. So right now, what you guys are looking at is my ThinkHub canvas. So at the moment, I'm actually running our Zoom call through this, and I also have our slide deck up as well. Now, what you're seeing here is just a piece of our canvas. Now, this canvas does have about 20 times more the space. So as I zoom all the way out, you can see every piece of canvas that I have here. I can zoom down in by just pinching and zooming, being able to rotate around with just a touch. In the top left corner, there is a canvas key. This canvas key tells you where you are. You have information. So you can see there are 2 actual white squares on there. That kind of tells me that I have some information already on the canvas. And with just the touch, I can rotate around and get to that information. Following down on the left side, you'll see that there's a painter's palette. This is for drawing tools. Drawing tools, you can either use your finger or you can use a stylus if your display allows it. So for mine, I'm going to be using a stylus. So here, able to write on the canvas. Now for erasing, you can either use your finger or you can ball your hand up like a fist and actually erase pretty quickly. We do have all different color options. You have different widths as well for drawing. Now this next button for the Canvas broadcasting, we're going to touch on that in just a little bit when we go over our ThinkHub Connect setup. Looking down at the bottom, we have a tray. In the tray are built-in applications. We have a web-based browser, we have a note, sketch, and group. Now I'm able to just tap on those and bring those up on the screen. I'm able to also move them around by just tapping on them, dragging them. We're going to start with the browser. So the browser, I can pinch and zoom, make it larger if I want to, or smaller, okay? With just the touch, you can see it goes into what we call an edit state. So this edit state gives you a handful more options. You can see in the bottom right, you have a way to resize this way if you wanted to. You do have drawing palette, again, on this. This allows you to actually annotate specifically on this web browser. What I'm going to do is actually go to a web page for you. So we'll go to T1V. And on our page, you can actually scroll through. Okay. We'll stay with our painter's palette. We'll circle this. Okay. The next option you'll see in that is a camera. This is for snapshot. I'm going to take a snapshot of this so that way I don't lose it. You can see I can just take a picture, bring it back onto the canvas. I can erase that annotation I did on my web browser, but it stays on that snapshot. The next option I have is full screen. So I can tap on that, pull this into full screen, be able to still rotate through. I can annotate on this in full screen as well, and I can take it out. The next is a pin. This is for essentially pinning it to the canvas. So you can select that, and now it no longer moves freely on the canvas. With just unselecting it, it can move freely again. For me, I have to do that quite a bit because I unfortunately will slide up against the screen with my shoulder, or my hair will touch it and it'll move it occasionally. That pinning saves me a lot. The next option is for sharing. I can either quickly duplicate this web browser if I need to have two instances of that on the screen, or I can email it. If I select email, I'm able to type in a recipient and be able to send that right away. There is an option for printing as well that you can do. So if you have images or things like that that you want to print, you can do that. We just don't have it set up on this one. The other application I brought up was Note. So you'll see Note here when I tap this and put it into an edit state. I can actually type in this one. Okay, so I have a keyboard. I can still use my stylus and write if I wanted to. Now, I don't know, I'm sure there's probably somebody on here, I know I'm like this, but I like having different color sticky notes. So I can change the background of this one if I wanted to. I can also change the text color as well. We have sketches. Sketches allow you to annotate. You can also change the background color on these. So I can change that to a purple. We'll do yellow on this one. You can see draw on there. But in both of these options, you still get the same edit state where you can take a snapshot of it. You can put it in full screen. You can pin it. Okay, same as to what we have for the web browser. Now, the last built-in application that I brought onto the screen is a group. Groups allow you to take information that you have on the screen and put them all together. So with that, I'm able to just drag and drop these items, and you'll see that add to group. And now these items are together in the group. Now, if the group's all the way on the right, and I'm over here working on this note on the left, I don't have to drag and drop it. When you're in this edit state, you do have an option for your groups. So if you have multiple groups on there and you want to quickly add that information, you'll see that I can select group one, my note flies over to the group. And now all three of that information that I brought up on the screen is there together. There is a lot of features that come to groups. You can change the name of the group if you wanted to. So I'll change this one to demo. I can change the arrangement, the comment count. You can also have a theme for your group, so that way they have specific color backgrounds and text color. I'm going to kind of move that to the side just for a sec. Looking still down on the tray, we still have a little bit more information down here. You'll see on the left side I have media. Media could be something simply as a USB connected to your ThinkHub that has documents, data on there that you want to be able to quickly share. In our case, how we have this set up is actually a locally stored network drive that actually has access to this folder. So I can quickly pull up images. I can search for PDFs, which I have here. I have a couple of our one sheets. I can bring that up on the screen quickly and be able to annotate on it if I wanted to. So this Air Connect PDF, I can actually rotate through. Down on the right side is devices. Devices for us are either hardwired HDMI connections, which we have 4 of them for this unit. You'll see these 4 here are actually hardwired inputs. I have a room PC, so I can have access to Microsoft Office if I needed to. I have an Apple TV, I have a couple cameras, but I also have a wireless option. So we have what's called T1V Air Connect. It's a free application that you can use. You can download it with Mac, Windows, iOS, or Android. And you'll notice this one right here is Ian, who was just talking just moments ago. Now, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. In the top right corner, you'll notice these 2 items that are highlighted. When you download that free Air Connect app, you're actually able to connect to ThinkHub with these items in the top right corner. Now, the 8-character code updates daily. The 4-digit code updates per session. Now, we're in a session right now, so that's where this 4-digit code came from. If I were to end this, start a new one, that 4-digit code is going to update. That's for privacy. Now, luckily, I may have given Ian this information beforehand, so that way he had it. So that's how he was able to connect his computer. So he is actually kind of controlling our slide deck today, actually right from his computer. And I am controlling it by sharing it to you through our ThinkHub Canvas. You'll notice the T1V Air Connect app, which is here in the center. He has a couple options. Right now, he's chosen to share his screen. So he's sharing his entire screen. Looks like he's getting ready to send us a note. I'm gonna move that over just a little bit. And now this note's popped up on my ThinkHub. That's from Ian. He can also send me a browser. He can also send me files from his computer too. What have we got? ESPN. Oh man, everybody see the Dodgers win last night? Got some PDFs too. So we have the Texas A&M case study. We have a picture of an install. You can see I'm kind of getting my canvas a little bit full. This is where you can remember to kind of move your canvas because you still have quite a bit of free space on there. Now, with Air Connect, you do have the option to focus your screen. So if Ian wanted to have his computer focused on, he selects that and you'll notice how it went full screen. He can cast a new window or screen. So if he didn't want to share his whole screen, maybe an individual item, he can do that. He can also clear the annotations. I know it's probably hard to see, but I actually put a terrible black circle around his Air Connect. If he clicks clear annotations, it will actually remove that annotation I drew on there. Now it's gone. You'll notice touch control and audio. Audio allows you to transfer the audio from your computer to the ThinkHub, and touch control allows me to control his computer from my ThinkHub. And that's things that you can turn on and off. Now, maybe as a presenter, or even imagining for what we're going to talk about in a little bit in ThinkHub Connect, as an instructor, I don't want people to be able to send me information while I'm doing a presentation. On the right side, oh, it looks like he's sending me some more information. Maybe I don't want him to do that. On the right side of the screen, my Air Connect access panel only appears when someone is connected. And this default user control, I can turn off. Now he can't send me notes, he can't send me URLs, can't send me files. But another key thing with Air Connect is that you can access the ThinkHub. So that if you're not there present, you can actually look at the ThinkHub through access. You could also control the ThinkHub through access. With this user control, if I don't want Ian to control my canvas, that being off prevents him from doing so. Makes it easier, especially for our instructors. Now, we do have, I know that we're running through with a Zoom webinar right now, but we do have other VC options available for ThinkHub. We use WebEx, Microsoft Teams, Skype for Business, BlueJeans, and Zoom, of course. But one major function that we are going to talk about is Multisite. So you'll notice when I pulled up the menu here, Multisite is here in the center. What I'm going to do is actually change my view. So what you guys are seeing right now is just my ThinkHub canvas. Now this hardline input that I talked about earlier, that is a camera, I actually have PTZ control on this for the camera that I'm talking to you guys with. I'm going to change my view here, so that way I can say hi to Kate and Kathy. Switch over so that way you guys can see Denver. So what I want you to do is kind of play along, imagine with me. We're going to imagine that this is in Charlotte, okay, where I am right now. We're going to imagine that this one is in Denver, okay? So imagine, you know, you have two teams in two totally different locations. You want them to be able to collaborate, work together. With Multisite, that allows you to connect two ThinkHubs together. So from my menu, I'm going to start a Multisite. You'll notice this panel that popped open on the left side here tells me I've started it. And my teammates over in Denver here, they're going to walk up to their ThinkHub, which this is what your ThinkHub looks like when you first walk up. The idle screen is what we call this. You can customize your idle screen. You can have a different color background or different background in general, different colors here. I'm just going to click Start. Comes right to my canvas. I'm going to select Multisite from here, and I know you guys can't see it clearly, but here I have Multisite in the center. I'm going to join my Charlotte crew over there. And as it's joining, it's going to take all the content we've been working on that one and bring it over here. So we're going to bring this here in a sec. Give this just a moment. So you can see that I can control this canvas separately from this one. So this allows them to have their each individual spaces. Or I can actually have my Canvas focus and work together at the same time. That's through Multisite Sync. So I could say, hey, pay attention to me and where I'm going. You can see as I move that canvas, this canvas moves here. Okay? And I can turn that off. So that way we can each individually work in spaces. But it allows you to quickly share information back and forth. And I am going to go ahead and throw it back to you here as soon as I find my Zoom call.
Sounds good. And then if you could give me the Air Connect keys again. I'm going to join back.
Yeah, no worries.
But while we do that, so as you can see, the ThinkHub tool is a powerful collaboration tool that allows you to collaborate in room and share ideas and share information. It allows you to collaborate, you know, from multiple locations within an office environment or classroom, share ideas and truly work collaboratively versus just, you know, one person sharing content through a Zoom or Teams call or something like that. It's actually truly collaborative. And then to take it to another level, you can also have people join in from their home like I did today. So I joined in and I'm able to cast my screen, send information, send content and that kind of stuff to keep things rolling and keep things engaged. And that's one of the changes we're seeing right now is with this work from anywhere environment, we have companies coming to us saying, how can we get our students or our employees engaged from home so that they're not just sitting there watching a Zoom call and, you know, just watching along. They're actively participating and actively presenting. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it over to Doug Jepson, who is in our Denver office, and he's going to talk about a project that we did out that way.
Thanks, Ian. So welcome everybody. Real quickly, the nice thing about this project that we did, this is an actual project that Logic Integration partnered with a company called Colin Ventures, which is a Denver-based oil and gas investment company. So what they wanted to do was partner with Logic to try and have them focus their ability to have collaboration not only in-house, but also be able to view remote well sites that the company has. And as you saw from some of what Molly was talking about, being able to bring in those hardline inputs, they can bring in cameras from any location and be able to monitor and view that. So be able to see those remote sites, but also they wanted to have internal collaboration. They themselves have an office in Denver and they also have an office in Pennsylvania. So they actually installed 2 4x2 walls, one in Denver and one in Pennsylvania, where they have the ability to have multi-site. So you just saw that from Molly as well, to be able to collaborate in real time with each office and be able to see that up on the ThinkHubs and be able to do all the collaboration from office to office. Obviously with Air Connect, they have the ability to, in their own office, whether it be in Denver and Pennsylvania, to also utilize the ThinkHub platform as an in-house collaboration product and be able to in real time, whether their employees are remote out in the field at a website or in the office, be able to do all these things. And so the ThinkHub, along with the ThinkHub Multisite, was a great solution that Logic did. And I would say, just so you know, that Logic not only did the office here in Denver, but they worked on the office in Pennsylvania because Colin Ventures really appreciated the job that both Logic and T1V did with this particular project. It's been a great project. It's been very successful. It's been a great opportunity to work with a local customer, and Logic, I think, learned a lot from that, and so did we. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Ian for another case study.
Thanks, Doug. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Myron Construction. This is a unique opportunity where they actually had an existing set of video walls that you can see there in the bottom left and the top left. that were actually using a solution from a competitor of ours, Prism. They were having issues, just struggling with that solution, but they didn't want to, excuse me, forklift the whole solution, because as you can see, this is a, excuse me, a built-in environment with video walls and so forth. So we were able to come in, utilize that same infrastructure, and just replace our software with our appliance to feed these walls and provide them a full interactive solution that they could then deploy in other spaces throughout their network. So you'll see that they've got a combination of different size walls. They've got, you know, a 3x3, they've got a 3x4, and then they've just got single displays. We work with all of those different units. They're able to use Multisite to collaborate. And this is a construction company, so the way they use it is not only internal communication, internal training, but they also use it for their project calls. So when they have a big construction project going on, they're able to have the different trades dial in using Air Connect and Zoom in this case, and join in and actively collaborate and participate in those, even during this, where they used to have these, you know, all in person and on premise. So this is a really unique project, but that was a fun one that's really changed the way they communicate and collaborate internally. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to Molly, and we're going to jump into our ThinkHub Connect solution, which takes ThinkHub and what you just saw with that and adds that into a classroom or a training room for an interactive experience with the students. Gives a lot of people the ability to engage, whether they're in the classroom or remote in this new world, they're still able to actively collaborate. So turn it over to you, Molly. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Ian. So what I'm going to do here is we are just going to focus on my camera view just for now. So the reasoning for this is because I want you guys to be able to see my whole classroom. Now, Kate's hiding from me, so I'm sorry. She's tucked back a little bit, but I have Cassie here. So ThinkHub Connect, right? So imagining me being a instructor, and I have my ThinkHub, which we just talked about with all the information that I'm able to share to my ThinkHub. I can share to my student stations. Now, within the menu on my ThinkHub, I have an option for room control down here at the bottom. Room control allows me to control my 4 student stations that I have out here. And right now I want them to kind of pay attention and focus on me. I'm going to tell all stations to come on right from my ThinkHub. And that allows for all 4 of these to kind of wake up, get ready for my students to connect to them, which Cassie is going to end up connecting here in a moment to this view hub. You'll see as these come up, these are our view hubs, our student stations. Now my view hubs will now, since they're up and active, this tray that we talked about here on the right side, I have my 4 view hubs now. This allows me to look and see what my students are up to. So I have these 4 items. We'll give those a second. When they first kind of wake up, they just restart their software, so you saw that there. Give them a sec. Good. And they're reconnecting here. Now, you'll notice where it has their idle screens as well. Now, we talked about with our ThinkHub how you can customize those idle screens. You can absolutely do that with your view hubs as well. You can have a different background, or you can change those colors. From my view hubs, I'm able to cast information from my ThinkHub to my students. Okay? So what I'm going to do is actually bring up a browser on my ThinkHub. And you're going to see on the left side when I have this, I have a cast option. I can cast this browser out to my students and have them focus on that and pay attention. So you can see where all 4 of those now are showing that Google web page. I can switch between really any item that's on the screen. If it was Ian's computer that I have here still that is air connected, I can cast that. I can cast that out to them. Now, Air Connect, we talked about with ThinkHub. You can connect to ThinkHub. But my students can use Air Connect and connect to their view hubs, which Cassie's actually connected to hers now. So if I stop casting for a second, you'll notice that those 3 still show view hub. but it's showing her with her computer here connected to the View Hub. And I can actually see her on my ThinkHub. So as an instructor, I can monitor and see what they're working on if they're in groups. Now, right now, with just one person connected, it's in that full screen on the View Hub. Imagine there being 4 students here and they're all casting their screen or sharing information. On the View Hub, it would go into a quad view. So that way it can show all 4 of their screens. But then they can decide to focus and make one screen full screen if they wanted to. Now, from my instructor station, if I say View Hub 1 here, which is our student station 1, if I like the information that they're working on and I want to share it, right from my instructor station, I can cast. And I can cast their View Hub out to the other View Hubs. Okay? So now you can see all 4 of them on that same. And if Cassie is to rotate through on hers, all of them keep up with her computer. Now we talked about annotations. I can say, hey, you know what? This, what you're working on here, I can circle. I can do that everything right from my instructor station. And I'm sorry, because of the coloring and the lighting, you can't really see it, but these are also circled. It keeps up with both her rotating and me actually annotating on that. Very good. Ian, I'm going to be able to throw it back to you now.
Sounds good. Thanks, Molly. So as you can see, one of the big differentiators using ThinkHub for this is that you can control everything very easily from the canvas. You don't have to walk over to a big Crestron or, control system to make all these manipulations to what the kids are seeing. You can do it very simply from the canvas by just touching a few buttons. We hear a lot of times that the professors love it because it's just easy to use and they don't need an AV support person in the room for their classrooms anymore. They feel like they're in control. The other thing that being able to do sessions and save them does is it gives professors the ability to do 2 things. They can, number 1, set up for class and kind of have their canvas set up how they want to present and be ready and just bring that up and be ready to go. Some other professors use it in different ways where they just kind of keep an ongoing session in Canvas where they can, start right where they left off and then actively have people participating and bringing things together. What we've learned during this time from some of our customers is that they're not only using this technology for in those classroom spaces, but because of Air Connect and us being able to connect in with Zoom and Teams and all those other VC technologies, they're able to have their kids from home participate and actively work in the classroom environment as if they were there. So in those hybrid worlds or all remote worlds, we're able to still, provide a good experience that is a lot more productive than just, again, like I mentioned before, somebody just watching a single piece of content through a Zoom call. This is much more engaging. And with that, I'm going to talk about a couple of projects that we've done to kind of give you some examples of these active learning spaces. And again, keep in mind, these could also be training rooms in corporate where you're trying to keep people engaged. We've got a couple customers doing that, like Zendesk, to name one. So Texas A&M in their Zachary Engineering building that they built a few years ago, they deployed 38 active learning studios. And in these studios, they have 98 students within each of those classrooms. So a lot of kids working. And one of the comments from a professor that really resonated with me is that they feel more connected to these kids than they ever did by using this technology because they feel like they're able to engage with them, which is saying a lot for 98 students. But they also deployed 10 conference rooms, some mobile carts, and they're using Air Connect very heavily where the students come in, they just know to connect, and they actually use this as a recruiting tool. So when they're going out recruiting kids to come to their campus, they bring them to these rooms and show them that they aren't just going to be sitting and listening to an instructor and just be stagnant. They're actually going to be engaged and working as teams through the environment. So that's been really well received. The next case study I want to talk about is Ohio University, that takes what you just heard about Texas A&M and kind of amplifies what they're doing. So A&M, or Ohio University, not only has, active learning classrooms deployed on their main campus, they have these same classrooms deployed on 2 other campuses throughout Ohio. And we worked with them to provide Multisite that allows them to connect those rooms together in a distance learning scenario. And the professor that's running that, if they're in, say, Cleveland, running a classroom with classrooms brought in from the other campuses, that professor is able to monitor and collaborate with those students at all locations and see what they're doing. So it is truly a collaborative space where they're all able to work together. And in that scenario, they've also gone to, being able to bring kids in, because Ohio U is in a hybrid model right now where they've got half the students on campus, half of them at home. Well, those kids that are at home are still able to, remote in, control what's going on, and actively participate. So that's our active learning solution. Next, we're going to move over to our T1V Suite demo, which is our interactive lobby experience. Use this for lobbies for people to come in, and allows companies to tell their story in a unique and engaging way. So people can just come in and kind of learn about the company on their own with interactive timelines or story walls. This can also be used in other scenarios, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. So I'll turn it back over to you, Molly.
Awesome. Thank you. So what you guys are seeing now is the other side of our showroom. And this is our 6x1 wall. So this is actually our Driscoll's Berries. It's a company that we assisted with their T1V Suite. With theirs, there has 3 options within there. So they actually have a timeline. So here I'm able to rotate through, and I can do this on any point of the screen where I can move. And imagine too that there's multiple people up here with me. We can all interact with the screen together. Now their timeline, pretty much with T1V Suite, you're able to customize these between timeline, a map, and ThinkHub. For this one, with their timeline, I can actually tap on this. Now this is information that they actually monitor and maintain. So I'm able to tap on a decade, be able to see information from that decade, rotate through photos that they have, whereas maybe someone else who is standing on this side could tap on this one, be able to rotate through that information, be able to go through the photos that they have here as well. On the left side, you'll notice that there is a Berries map and ThinkHub. For them, they use this more in a corporate location, so that way they can provide their customers with information, understanding, or visitors, and also use this in a training environment. So for this, at the state that it's in, essentially imagine us being in a, in one of their corporate locations to be able to provide that information. And then you have the map. With just a touch, it'll switch over to the map. For them, how they wanted their maps was to be able to show the berries and where they are, where they get them from. So I can actually decide, let's take a look at October, where they get their strawberries from. I have these options here on the left side. And I can actually tap on one of these strawberries and actually see the farmer and get information that they've provided on that farmer. I can exit the map, and it comes right back to this idle screen for their timeline. But then if it's time, for a training, they can switch to ThinkHub. So exactly what we talked about earlier on the single panel, you can do on the 6x1. So see a nice large canvas here with our apps that I can bring up on the screen. Functions exactly the same as we did on our single panel that we did over there. I have my hardline inputs down here on the right side. I could have air connected information providing and going through that training session. I also have this exit ThinkHub in the bottom left to bring me back to my timeline on the front. Now this is just one view for our T1V Suite. What I'm going to switch to now is a personal favorite of Lego.
And as Molly's switching over to Lego, some other use cases and things that we've seen with this solution, because each one is custom created. We do a lot of these for higher education, for donor walls. things like that, so that people can come in and look at what individuals donated and how that's going and what the money is being used for. Similar in healthcare, where people are able to come into a lobby, search on a doctor, pull up their credentials, look at information about them, also look at donor information for just on an end user basis.
Cool. Thanks again for that help. So Lego being one of my personal favorites, I think we're all pretty familiar with Legos. They always have really fun, you know, wallpapers that are kind of going in the background, or screensaver, excuse me. And they like to rotate through these, so they can actually update these all on their own. But imagine this being in a store. Okay, you have a bunch of kids running around with their Legos. They can come up and then you can just touch the screen. Batman comes up and it activates the screen. Now for this one, these are 3 separate locations. So from here, imagine 3 people being up, and on this one, I can work on these 2 walls, be able to look at a video. Person number 2 here, being able to go to a website, we'll just go right to Lego. You can notice how the coloring of the Legos are different as well. On this one, I can look at games. Bring this up here and have that there. So it allows 3 separate people to come up and actually interact with the wall all at once.
Thanks, Molly.
And Ian, I'm going to be tossing it back to you.
Yep, thank you. So one thing that we'll provide in the slide deck when we send it out after the call is a product comparison, so that you'll be able to see the differences between our solutions. There's a few other things that we didn't go through today that you'll see on there. So we've got our T1V Hub, which is just a Air Connect, simple wireless casting of a device to a screen. And then we've got Hub VC, which is similar to a Sparkboard or a Surface Hub that takes it to a different level, where you've got the ability to have Teams, Zoom, and WebEx all running on the same device, so that you can quickly, you know, switch from a WebEx meeting to a Zoom meeting with one touch dial. So with that being said, I am going to kick it over to Blair Rubio, who is VP of Marketing, and she will go through and help with the Q&A.
Thanks, Ian, and thanks to all of our presenters today. So as a reminder to our audience, please go ahead and submit your questions. I'm just going to start firing through some questions that we've gotten so far. And most of these are directed towards the T1V team. So the first question out the gate is asking about ThinkHub Multisite and whether that's a cloud or on-premise solution.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So Multisite can be a combination of both, or you know, however it makes sense in your environment. Most of our deployments are based on an enterprise server that we deploy on premise, so that traffic stays in-house. However, if you don't have networks connecting your office buildings together, or you want to be able to connect with people outside of your network, we have the ability to have a cloud multi-site environment that allows you to go outside. And we can do that in a hybrid world as well.
That's great. Thanks, Ian. Next question is around content for T1V Suite, which is the big 6-panel wall that we just saw Molly demonstrate.
I can take that one again. So we do not create content. Most customers have a marketing department or somebody that creates that for them, and we'll take that content, curate it, and make it look engaging and build it into a story wall or timeline wall.
Thanks, Ian. Another question around display technology. So we've seen a single panel display, a multi-panel display just in today's demos. What display technology is recommended to work with ThinkHub, and can T1V provide that hardware?
I'll take part of that. So we can do that in a few different ways. So working with Logic, we use Avacore displays for the single panels. That's our preference because of the touch technology they use. As you saw Molly using before, those have styluses and recognize different sizes of tools. So, you know, she was able to erase with her fist. She was able to use a stylus to mark things up, and it recognized the difference between those. And the touch sensitivity is just really, really good. We can provide those as a full kit with ThinkHub, or if you already have displays, we can utilize those as well and just provide ThinkHub software with the appliance it runs on. For interactive walls, like you saw, our preference is planar walls. Great partnership with them and Logic, and we're able to, you know, deploy those in many different configurations. It kind of makes it easy for us to create a custom solution for each individual deployment. And then with those, again, the touch technology is really good and cost effective compared to some of the other solutions out there.
Thanks, Ian. I'm just gonna close with one last question. I think we'll wrap it up after this last one. There's a question around the learning curve for people who are using ThinkHub and whether T1V offers training for those new users.
Do you want me to take that one, Ian, or you got it?
Sure, go ahead.
Cool. So for training, we actually have someone dedicated, actually Morgan Fieldman is our dedicated customer success manager who actually provides those trainings. We do actually have even a website to go to for our T1V Academy. So once you have your ThinkHub or your ViewHub, whichever product it is, you'll actually have the assistance if needed for training, and you'll be able to have information to get to for training as well.
Great, thank you, Molly. At this point, we've kind of hit the end of our content, so I'm going to hand it back to Logic to close this out. Thank you guys again for partnering with us on this webinar.
Thank you guys as well. We really appreciate it. Scott and I both really appreciate the partnership we have there. And you know, as you guys were talking about this stuff, I was thinking about so many different applications that this could work in, not just educational, not just in schools, but, you know, we were talking about construction companies, architecture firms. You know, I was out at a construction company a couple weeks ago, and they were trying to put together in their trailer a meeting, talking with the architect and talking with some of the engineers and then with the client about some of the changes they were making to it. And it was like, you know, it took them probably 10 times longer than it should have taken them to get through this meeting, just because they were all trying to, you know, share screens and work inside of, you know, a little piece of conference software rather than on a real true collaboration platform. So I'm just thinking about all these different applications for this, and I'm really excited that we were able to go over this today, and I'm sure there's a lot more if you guys want to learn more information about T1V. There's a lot of information on their website. There's also information on our website. If you go into who we partner with and click on Colin and Ventures, click on T1V from within our website and learn more about it. So Scott, you got anything else?
Yes, I do. And thank you. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, and thank you, T1V, for helping us present such a useful and educational webinar. Like Jay said, we certainly appreciate everyone's time and energy that went into this. And if you are watching from afar and have any questions, please feel free to reach out to anybody at Logic, but especially Jay or myself. We'd be happy to go through any questions that you may have and answer any questions. And like Jay said, there are so many different applications. The demo today was just scratching the surface, and it seemed like it was overwhelming. But you know, when they deploy someone to train you on it, it becomes very simplistic and easy to use. So with that, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody for dialing in and making us part of your day. Have a great day, everybody.